Welcome to this explainer. You know that feeling when you're lying in bed, the lights are out, and you're just starting to drift off? We usually like to think of sleep as this totally safe, peaceful surrender, right? A time when our minds and bodies just politely shut down together. But sleep is incredibly complex, and sometimes it leaves us terrifyingly vulnerable. Today, we're going to demystify the frightening and often confusing world of parasomnias. We're going to explore the actual science behind what happens when the lines between being perfectly awake and being completely asleep blur together into something truly bizarre. Okay, let's just shatter the illusion right out of the gate. Sleep is not a simple off switch. So, what actually happens when we get caught halfway between waking and sleeping? It turns out our brains don't just abruptly clock out for 8 hours. Throughout the night, they meticulously cycle through highly active and deeply inactive phases, basically choreographing this incredibly delicate dance between brainwaves, muscle control, and consciousness. But sometimes the choreography fails. Things get a little stuck in the middle, and your brain essentially wakes up but leaves your body entirely asleep. And when that happens, this strange glitch is what we call a parasomnia. It's really a broad umbrella term for all those abnormal behaviors, movements, and intense emotions that happen when you are technically still asleep. Imagine you're dreaming you're running from a bear. Normally, you just lie there safely in bed, but a parasomnia occurs right as the brain is trying to transition between different sleep stages. It's a physiological misfire where the safety locks fail, meaning you might actually kick, scream, or thrash while being completely oblivious to the real world around you. Let's start breaking this down. Section 1, non-REM, or moving while asleep. To really wrap our heads around these glitches, let's take a chronological journey through a typical night, starting right in the deep non-REM phase of the first half of the night. This is when your brainwaves slow to a crawl and that crucial restorative physical healing happens, but ironically, it's also where some of the most physically active sleep glitches occur. Get this, up to 66% of people experience somniloquy, that's sleep talking. So if you've ever mumbled embarrassing secrets in the dark or spouted absolute gibberish about a walrus wearing a top hat to your completely confused partner, you are certainly not alone. It can range from complete nonsense to perfectly structured, grammatically correct sentences, all happening while the person is entirely unconscious. Now, staying in that same deep sleep phase, that same glitch can cause people to sleepwalk. And honestly, the eerie, almost zombie-like nature of this is kind of wild. We're talking about someone literally throwing off the covers, walking to the kitchen, and methodically preparing a turkey sandwich, all with zero conscious awareness. People can perform highly routine multi-step tasks, getting dressed, unlocking doors, or even trying to drive their cars. Their eyes might be wide open and glassy, but nobody is home. The brain just isn't fully awake, meaning they'll wake up the next morning with crumbs in their bed and absolutely zero memory of their midnight snack. While sleepwalking is definitely strange, sleep terrors are a massive, visceral shock to the system. Affecting over 2% of adults and a much higher percentage of kids, these are absolutely not just bad dreams. Imagine a sudden, blood-curdling scream shattering the silence of your house at 2 in the morning. That's the intense clinical reality of a sleep terror. It triggers a dramatic, sudden spike of autonomic arousals. We're talking about a racing heart, rapid and shallow breathing, profuse sweating, and sheer, unadulterated panic. The person might be sitting bolt upright, looking completely terrified, yet they are still locked in deep non-REM sleep, completely oblivious to their actual surroundings. Which brings us to Section 2, night terrors versus nightmares. Let's dive right into the contrast here, because confusing these two is incredibly common, but they are fundamentally different experiences. Picture a parent rushing in to comfort a crying child. If that kid is having a nightmare, which happens in REM sleep, they usually wake up completely. They are fully aware, they can be comforted, and they almost always remember the terrifying story their brain just cooked up about a monster in the closet. But if that child is having a night terror, they are trapped in deep non-REM sleep. They have little to no awareness of the parent standing right in front of them. They might physically thrash around, they're virtually unreachable for comfort, and the next morning, they will have absolutely zero memory of the event that just terrified their parents. Moving right along to Section 3, REM, or trapped in dreams. That perfectly sets us up to enter the later half of the night, rapid eye movement, or REM sleep. This is where your most vivid, cinematic dreaming occurs, and it comes with its very own terrifying set of glitches. Imagine the sheer claustrophobia of waking up in your bed, realizing you are mentally conscious, but finding yourself entirely chemically locked down. You literally can't move a single muscle. This is sleep paralysis. To protect you, your body employs REM atonia, a built-in muscle paralysis designed to keep you from physically acting out your dreams. But if you wake up during this phase, your active amygdala is simultaneously generating vivid, sometimes horrifying dream hallucinations right there in your room. You are mentally awake, but your body is a prisoner. But flip that around. What happens if that built-in muscle paralysis fails entirely? Well, a person can develop REM sleep behavior disorder. This is when violent or action-packed dreams are physically acted out in the real world, and it poses a very real danger. Instead of being safely paralyzed in bed, a person dreaming about a high-stakes boxing match might physically throw a haymaker in real life. They punch, kick, or yell in reaction to whatever they're dreaming about, which actively endangers both themselves and their bed partner, who might unfortunately catch a stray fist in the middle of the night. It turns the bed from a place of rest into an unpredictable hazard. So why does this happen? Let's look at Section 4, Common Triggers for Parasomnias. Now that we understand the underlying mechanics of these sleep glitches, we really need to ask, why do they happen at all? Because these aren't just random, uncontrollable lightning strikes. They are very often direct reactions to our environment and our waking habits. Severe stress, a few too many glasses of wine before bed, or irregular sleep schedules, these all act like massive speed bumps in your brain's natural sleep architecture. Instead of smoothly transitioning from one phase of sleep to the next, these triggers literally bounce you out of a deep sleep and into these glitchy transitional states. Even underlying conditions like sleep apnea, where you stop breathing for brief moments, act as micro-interruptions that constantly pull you out of deep sleep and set the perfect stage for parasomnias. Psychiatrist Dr. Warren Eng hits the nail on the head here. He views these not just as annoyances, but as alarms. He points out that nightmares and night terrors aren't automatically worrisome, but they can be markers of more serious mental health and sleep disorders. This highlights exactly why it is absolutely crucial to listen to what our bodies are doing in the dark. Frequent disturbing nighttime episodes might be an indicator of untreated anxiety, underlying depression, or unresolved trauma that desperately needs to be addressed during our waking hours. Your brain is essentially waving a giant red flag while you sleep. Finally, let's talk solutions in Section 5, Strategies for Peaceful Sleep. How can you actually take control of your rest tonight? Well, for those suffering from chronic nightmares, cognitive behavioral techniques like imagery rehearsal therapy are a total game changer. You're essentially acting like a movie director for your own brain. First, you just write down the bad dream to get it out of your head. Second, you identify the core themes. Maybe it's a lack of safety, trust, or control. And third, you cross out that scary script and consciously write a brand new, peaceful ending. By rehearsing this new, non-distressing ending during the day, you literally trick your subconscious and train your brain to change its default dream pattern. Now, if you or a bed partner are prone to sleepwalking or night terrors, you absolutely have to focus on harm reduction. Sleep on the ground floor if possible, lock away any sharp objects, clear your floors of tripping hazards like laundry or phone cords before you turn out the lights, and make sure those doors and windows are securely closed. But you can also take preventative measures. For instance, techniques like scheduled awakenings can be amazing. If a child consistently has a night terror at midnight, gently waking them up 15 minutes beforehand can effectively reset their sleep cycle and prevent the glitch from happening entirely. Furthermore, treating the root cause almost always comes back to this one core concept: sleep hygiene. Don't think of sleep hygiene as a chore. Think of it as your ultimate protective armor against these nighttime glitches. It means getting a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep, hitting the pillow at the exact same time every night, and severely limiting nighttime stimulants like alcohol, caffeine, and the disruptive blue light from your screens. Providing your brain with this kind of stability is for sure the absolute best way to keep your sleep cycles smooth, deep, and beautifully uninterrupted. I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder tonight as you turn off the lights. What is the single biggest trigger you can eliminate to help your brain finally find peace in the dark? Whether it's putting your smartphone away an hour earlier, cutting out that late-night drink, or actively taking 10 minutes to de-stress before bed, you have the power here to help your mind transition smoothly. Take ownership of your sleep environment tonight and give yourself the truly restful sleep you deserve.